So here we are. We're stuck at home because of a snowstorm. And I don't know about you, but being forced to wait, forced to slow down, forced to stop our carefully planned schedules, it drives us a little crazy, doesn't it? We had things to do, we had places to be, the grocery run we were going to make, the errands that we were going to knock out, the productivity that we were going to accomplish. And now, well, we're just here, waiting for the plows, waiting for the roads to clear, waiting for life to get back to normal so that we can get back to doing what we always do. We're not good at waiting. Let's be honest. It isn't in our cultural DNA. Fast food wasn't fast enough, so we created drive-thrus. Meal prep wasn't quick enough, so we got microwaves. We jumped from one checkout line to another, convinced that one more will move faster, only to watch our original line start moving. We lose our minds sitting in traffic. We refresh our email every 30 seconds. Are we there yet? Might as well be our national motto. And then a snowstorm comes along and says, not today. Today, you wait. Which is exactly why Advent is such a difficult season for us. Because Advent is all about waiting. It's a wrestling match between this little liturgical season trying to teach us some patience and the cultural juggernaut of Christmas that's been steamrolling ahead since Halloween. We might as well admit defeat, right? Christmas is coming whether Advent is ready or not, so why fight it? And listen, I love Christmas. I really do. I love the lights and the music and the way the whole world seems to shift gears for just a few weeks. I love how this story of God coming as a baby has shaped nations and cultures and caused people to stop and rethink their lives, even if they don't fully get the theology of it all. I've read entire books trying to explain the incarnation, and I can't say that I completely understand it either. I mean, it's called a mystery for a reason. But here's the thing. Advent isn't just a countdown to Christmas. Advent is a reminder that we're heading somewhere. We have a destination as a people of faith. Advent makes us stop, like a snowstorm makes us stop, and ask, are we there yet? The question assumes we know where there is. So let's check the map. Let's see where we're heading. In the days to come, the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established as the highest of the mountains, and shall be raised above the hills. All nations will stream to it. Many people shall come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of God of Jacob, that he may teach us his ways, and that we may walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth instruction, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He shall judge between the nations, and shall arbitrate for many peoples. They shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. That's the destination. That's the there. Are we there yet? Well, no, obviously we're not. We're not even close, which is exactly why we'd rather skip Advent and get straight to Christmas that we can count on. Christmas will arrive, ready or not. It might not look like a Hallmark movie. Our dinner table might not rival the magazine spreads. Our family might not gather like they do in TV specials. But Christmas will come one way or another. But this other thing, this vision of peace that Isaiah paints, the kingdom of God that Jesus was so insistent about, are we there yet? Not by a long shot. We've got miles upon miles to go. And to be honest, this whole swords into plowshares thing, well, it sounds nice and all, but it's not realistic. That's not how the world works. That's not how it's always been done. You need that sword, that spear, to protect yourself from the ordinary dangers of life that want to hurt you, right? The people Isaiah was writing to would have agreed with us. They were stuck in Babylon, in captivity, and they were waiting for God to come out swinging. They expected a Messiah who would be a warrior king, someone who would break down Babylon's walls, lead them home to Jerusalem in triumph, and leave smoking rubble behind. That's what salvation looked like in their world: violence, conquest, and domination. That's how it's always been done. So when Isaiah comes along talking about plowshares and pruning hooks, about peace instead of war, about God's house being established as the highest mountain where all nations would come to learn God's way, well, okay, God, good luck with that one. It sounds as strange to us as it did to them. Beat our swords into plowshares? What if we need those swords? What if someone comes to hurt us? What if we need to protect our stuff, our status, our way of life, our sense of security? Jesus actually addresses this in our gospel reading. He tells this odd little parable about a homeowner and a thief in the night. If the owner had known when the thief was coming, Jesus says, he would have stayed up all night to protect his house. Wait, so Jesus' return is like a thief? That's unsettling. We have to turn our brains upside down to hear what he's actually saying. The return of the Son is a good thing, but it's not an easy thing. And we are trying to stop it, trying to protect what we think we need. That's the bad thing. That's the thing that keeps the kingdom from coming. If we knew exactly when and how God was going to show up, Jesus suggests, we'd probably do the wrong thing. We'd spend all our energy protecting our house and our stuff, our comfortable patterns, our expected outcomes. We'd like to be like that owner, staying up all night, guarding against the very thing we claim to want. But wait, we want to argue, we do want the kingdom. Don't we pray that every week? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven? Don't we mean it? Maybe, or maybe not. The point is that we sometimes protect, value, and place our trust in the wrong things. We hold too tightly to what won't matter in the kingdom. We guard our comfortable patterns, our status quo, our sense of how things should be done. We're like the woman in that old story who always cut the ends off the ham before baking it, just like her mother did, just like her grandmother did. When her daughter finally asked why, they traced it back to great-grandma, who had cut the ends off because her pan was too small. But 3 generations had kept doing it simply because that's how it always had been done. It was comfortable. It was expected. Why fix what's not broken? And to that God asks, why? Why do we keep doing things the way we've always done them? Why do we cling to our swords when God offers plowshares? Why do we protect our small pans when God offers a feast big enough for all the nations? Because change is hard. Because the unknown is scary. Because waiting without knowing exactly how things will turn out requires that we have trust that we're not sure we have. But here's what God specializes in: throwing out the world's playbook, changing the way things have always been done, subverting our expectations with something better than we could have ever imagined. The Messiah didn't come with a sword and a spear. He came as an infant who couldn't even care for himself. God chose the most vulnerable way possible, rather than the way humanity had expected for millennia. He came in peace, plowshares and pruning hooks, rather than violence. And the way that he accomplished his mission, he didn't beat down the oppressors. He let them beat him down. He didn't raise a hand against those who wanted to preserve the status quo. No, he willingly gave himself up so that God's extraordinary, unexpected way of bringing salvation could be accomplished. This is God's specialty, doing things differently than we expect, better than we plan. So what are we supposed to be doing while we wait? Jesus says, live. Two people working in a field, two people grinding grain, just ordinary life. We're called to provide for our families, to create a sense of home in this world. But at the same time, we're called to keep watch, to hold this world a little more loosely, to remember that we have a destination and we're not there yet. Look again at Isaiah's vision. Some of the action items are things God will do. God will teach. God will lead. God will judge between nations. But some of the items are things we are called to do. We are called to invite the nations. We will go up to the mountain. We will beat the swords into plowshares. Did you catch that? We will beat the swords. That's not something that God will do at the end of time. It's something that we're called to do as a part of walking in God's ways. As Jesus said, blessed are the peacemakers, not the peace wishers or the peace hopers, but the peacemakers. Have we beaten any swords lately? Or have we left them there, just in case we need them? As a contingency against those who might hurt us? As proof that we can rely on our own strength, our own pride, our own stuff to get when we're going? And who establishes the mountain? Isaiah says, in the days to come, the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established at the highest of the mountains. Who's doing that? Who's making God's house the highest priority? Who's making sure that God's will, God's direction, God's vision is the center, the peak of our existence? Maybe it's a joint task, God and us together, speaking and listening, teaching and learning, coming and hoping. Here's what Advent asks us to do. Stop. Stop protecting the wrong things. Stop trying to force God into our playbook. Stop cutting off the ends of the ham just because that's how we've always done it. And instead, wait, listen, trust. Hold your plans a little more loosely. Hold your expectations with open hands. Hold your stuff, your status, your comfortable patterns, your sense of how things should be. Hold it all loosely enough so that when God shows up in unexpected ways, you're not so busy protecting what you have that you miss what God is offering. Because God's plan is better than ours. God's kingdom is greater than anything we could build on our own. And God's someday, that mountain will be established as the highest priority, that peace among nations, that streaming of all peoples to learn God's ways. It's not just some distant end times fantasy. It's within reach. It's within the realm of possibility. Someday might mean when we get around to it and when we've moved closer to it. So, here we are. We're stuck at home in a snowstorm. We're forced to wait, forced to slow down, forced to stop our carefully planned lives and just be. Maybe that's exactly what Advent is trying to teach us. That the waiting itself is part of the journey. That God works in the stopping, in the slowing down, in the unexpected disruptions to our comfortable patterns. That's why we're heading somewhere better than anywhere we could rush to ourselves. Are we there yet? No, we're not, but we're on the way. And while we wait, while we're stuck, while we're slowed down, while we're forced to hold our plans loosely, we can choose. We can keep trying to protect our small pans and our comfortable hams and our trusty swords, or we can listen for God's still small voice calling to something bigger, something better, something that requires us to trust God's way of doing things, however unexpected and uncomfortable, is the way that leads to life. The kingdom is coming. Are we ready?